see the boy reach greatness. Oh, no. Straight from the bottom and I made it to the top. Gotta win every day, so I take it. Yeah!
Ron, what legacy do you want to leave?
Oof. When I think about legacy, I think about building a community.
If we have a vision for our lives, if we know what we want to create as a legacy, the first pillar of wealth is about becoming your best self.
Greatness is a mindset. In order to become a grandmaster, you must first be a grandmaster.
What's going on, everybody? You are live in the Hacker Valley studio with your hosts, Ron and Chris.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to the show.
Glad to be back again. We are it's like a sandwich right now. We've made a Davin sandwich. It is all about Davin today because we got some very exciting news. I'll let you drop the news, Davin.
Well, first of all, that intro is always a bop. Like, I'm in the back. But yeah, thank you for having me. For those who don't know, I am Davin Jackson. I am the host of Hacker Valley Blue, and another one you might have heard of, InfoSec Unplugged, which is live every Thursday. But we're not here about that today. We're here. we need to talk about this right now. And again, just grateful to be here. Grateful to you guys for this opportunity. And I mean, are we just going to come out with it, or?
Oh, we got to come with it. But first, I think we got to set the context, because Hacker Valley Blue is all about the blue side, right? It's all about the defenders, but you're on the red side. You're offensive security. You're doing pen testing and all that great stuff. So folks, if you have questions for Davin about being on the red side, but interviewing blue team members, be sure to drop them wherever you're watching this, and we'll be sure to get to it. But with that, I think we should give them a little taste of what they have in store.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. We're going to switch views around here. And
welcome everybody to Hacker Valley Blue, where we get the industry's best and brightest cyber defenders to share their experiences and tips on how you can better defend your assets and networks. I have another question, and I think this is more about my own curiosity. Is there a story that you can share, obviously without getting in trouble or breaking any type of NDAs, where it was like where you put all the pieces together in an investigation? And could you also describe that feeling? Because on the red team side, like, there's this feeling of like euphoria when we pop that shell, when we get an exploit to work, we've crafted it, we've done all the scans and everything, and we got it to work, and it's almost like a happy dance. Is there something like that on the DFIR side, that, you know, when you guys figure it out or and determine what happened?
I'd say it's the first pivot in a forensic investigation. So I talked earlier about timelines and how they're really important for forensics and incident response, building a comprehensive timeline of what the bad thing or the bad person did. And that could be across network, it could be across systems, memory, files, logs, etc. But this comprehensive story narrative of what they did. And going into an incident where you don't really have any information about what's happened, it's always nerve-wracking. Whether that's an exercise or a real incident or whatever, you come in the beginning and you're like, oh my God, what if I don't find them? Like, it doesn't matter how experienced you are and how many incidents you responded to. Like, the first few hours of any blue teaming exercise or CTF or actual incident response is like, oh my God, what if I don't find them this time? And they're always there somewhere. Defense in depth, hopefully you've got multiple layers of detection and forensics and things like that. But the really good feeling is like after you get to the second pivot point, what I mean by that is like you'll start finding things that maybe look like they're malicious or related to the report or the ticket or the incident, whatever and you'll be like, I'm not sure. but then you'll see something else that corroborates what you found, and you start building that timeline. You're like, okay, I have a sequence of events now. This thing that happened, and then this other thing happened. Okay, we're fleshing out a story now. And you only have 2 data points, perhaps, like you have a point of data and then a pivot to another point of data. But at that point, you feel like you're actually succeeding. Like you feel like you're actually building a timeline of events. Like, and until then, you're like, oh my god, what if this is a false positive? What if I haven't found them? Like, and then it's just at that point, there's a little more confidence and corroboration that you're actually tracking the adversary activity, and you can start pivoting off those to other points and building out your timeline in a more confident way. So I think that's the equation of the feeling, like of popping a box on the red team, where you see your beacon come back or whatever. Like it's that feeling when you're like, I can put a second line in my Excel timeline. Like it's really good. So yeah, if you're a novice at blue teaming and you're about to get thrown in your first like blue team, red team exercise or course or CTF or something, or you're working on your first incident, first day is always going to be hell. Like just so the first day is always going to be hell. Like, because you're like, I can't find them. I can't find them. I can't find them. Like, and you're like trying to figure out what tools you use and what logs you've got and things like that. And you're like, I can't find them. And you're really stressed out. But then you find something and you're like, I don't know. But then you find a second thing that's related to that first thing. And you're like, oh, I got him. I can do this now. Like, I know where to look. So it's always like that.
So let's jump back into it.
That boy looked good, didn't he?
You did look fantastic. I got to ask, as someone who is on the red side of the coin, speaking to all the blue teamers, all the defenders, what has been some of the biggest takeaways for you so far? Is it an interesting interaction like we thought, or is there more in common than we first thought about?
It's both. So, one of the things that I sought out to do with this season was, get a feeling of what they do. Because so often different teams are in different silos, right? You have your red team, you have your blue team, you have your GRC team, and then you have management. And, they don't really communicate with each other unless it's like for compliance purposes or something like that.
Right.
So, there's a lot of, certain misconceptions that, blue teams don't patch their stuff, or, why aren't they on top of their vulnerability management program and stuff like that. And with attacks happening more frequent these days, that's a major concern for security teams all around. So I wanted to kind of, for one, get it in their own words, some of the challenges that they faced, as well as, some of the joys of being on the blue team, because, a lot of the times you hear the red team is like the sexy job. The reds, everybody wants to be a pen tester or a hacker or something, they want to be like Mr. Robot or whatever. And no knock to them. I love the show. And I am a pen tester, but, there's a lot of cool jobs that, you don't hear about every day. For example, in that clip, we had Leslie Carhart, who is great at DFIR, so digital forensics incident response, but she also works with ICS systems. So, and so in learning from her, you realize, yeah, things are going to be unpatched and out of date, but there's a reason why. And now you have to create a program around that. So, although it might be true that they're not patching their stuff, there might be certain reasons. I've heard from other guests who've kind of explained, that sometimes it's not so simple as just pushing a button and saying, okay, system patch. You might actually break something else. So getting that clarity from them, and then also, hearing about their origin stories, and hearing about, what drove them to the blue side. Because you have some people who started off and said, I wanted to go red team, but that's not where my heart was until I got into it. And something about, SecOps, drove me more to that side, or something about DFIR. And one thing for me is, like, I actually started out doing pen testing, but I always loved DFIR. And I actually went and took a course and got certified, and I went to go get a job or tried to find a job. And when I was living in the Northeast, I guess you could call him my first mentor. He was a police officer, but he also did work with like the Secret Service, and he did it everywhere. And because there were so few of them, he was like the only one like in the whole tri-state area, and further north. So I had asked him, I'm like, I'd love to be, your apprentice or your intern or something to learn. And he's like, yeah, unfortunately, up here you have to be in law enforcement. And my military years were past me.
Yeah.
All the so those years of extra physical activity and going through different boot camps and stuff like that, yeah, I was way past that.
I hear
So
you.
but in doing that course, the blessing was it made me a better pen tester. It made me a better hacker, because now I am able to see both sides of the coin from the DFIR side. So I look at it when I'm on a pen test. If I'm sitting on a system, I'm like, okay, before I even start enumerating or doing anything for privilege escalation, the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, so if there's an incident response and they're going to investigate, what's the first thing they're going to look at? All right, cool. They might check out these logs, or they might check out this over here. So now I'm trying to figure out how to avoid it to make that harder for them. And vice versa. If I'm ever doing DFIR, which I hope to do one day, I know a pen tester's methodology. So, it's cool to kind of get that talk. And then, like I said, and hearing them, like hearing what drives them, what's the feeling like to put all the pieces together, what is the equivalent of popping a shell. So it was a really great experience. It still is a great experience, and I'm super excited to share it with everybody.
I think everyone's excited for it. We have a lot of comments coming in, and we're going to be sharing some. But while we're bringing these comments up, I would love for everyone to share, what is that popping the box moment for you? Like Davin equated it to getting remote access to a device. Maybe, you're not hands-on. Maybe it's something else, like finishing a compliance report. Some people get extreme satisfaction out of that. I do also. I'm a process guy. But I would love to hear what is everyone's thought there. So we got a lot of comments coming in. People say, "Hey, Davin. Hey, guys. Davin is awesome. Couldn't
Phil,
agree more."
thank you.
Yes, and this is connected to many different streams. So this is also pulling from your YouTube.
Yeah.
You got your YouTube going crazy right now.
Yeah. Fantastic.
We had to bring them all together. It's for a great cause.
Absolutely. When you think about popping a box, because that is a great feeling. I've done that a little bit. But one of the things on the blue side that I've gotten to see is folks that do like detection logic. I remember doing purple team engagements, and in one room you'd have the red team, and in the other room you'd have the blue team. And the blue teamers were going nuts whenever their detections worked, because they never really got to test it in the real world scenario before. And so when they say, "Oh, it works," they know that their hard work came through. For me, as a content creator, one of my favorite things in the world is to listen to an intro that we pulled together with the music and the words and the timing, and just making sure that the audio is just clear. That's one of my favorite things in the world, is when you pull a nice intro together for a piece of content. What about you, Ron?
My favorite part is definitely the intro, because that really sets the stage. But outside of it, I think it's really the content that's in the middle, like having a story, especially when you have a story within yourself, or you have guests that come on the podcast that have a great story. There's nothing like it, because I'm able to distill years of wisdom, years of practice into a few minutes that I'm able to enjoy in the form of a story.
Yeah. So I'm actually both, right? I like to see, the finished product, and you push that product out and getting the feedback that they saw the vision, right? Because, as content creators, even though they tell you, don't worry about it. And yeah, your first few episodes are going to suck, or your first few videos aren't going to be that great. In the back of our minds, we're all, artistic in a sense, where it's like, did they get it? Did they understand where I was going with it? And when you get that feedback, it's like, okay, cool. Like, to me, it's like when you see that, when you put that finished product out, again, it's almost like here's my baby, please love them, you know, you know, and which brings me back to, you know, what I want to do with Hacker Valley Blue. You know, when you guys approached me with the concept of having a red team or host, you know, a predominantly blue team podcast, it was definitely a challenge, and it was, you know, and then there's also the, how do I take this that you guys have built and make it into my own?
Mhm.
And I hope that, you know, in what the people see this season is that, you know, it is, you know, still the Hacker Valley Blue foundation, but I
Right.
put a little twist on it. I'm not sure if you want me to kind of go into what my thinking was with it, but
Sure. Why not?
so,
And I'm also gonna put this new logo that was
yes, yes,
inspired or brought up by Davin up there.
Yeah. Beautiful. Love it.
yes, and
So let's talk about the twist, and then we definitely want you to put a little information, some behind the scenes director cut about the album art itself, like the process of creating it with the team, and what the album art really means to you.
oh, absolutely. So, when thinking about how I could make, you know, Hacker Valley Blue into something that's, you know, still still you guys' project, but something that I can call my own. I always go back to the one thing that I think I know better than anything else, even better than pen testing and cybersecurity, and that's my love for like comic books and anime and comic book movies and everything. And and following the theme of having all of these blue teamers come on here and speak about their experiences, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to try to build a team? So immediately I thought back to the early days of the MCU, where Nick Fury showed up in the very first Iron Man movie and was like, "I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative." And then
Yeah.
for that string of how many movies, they were putting the pieces together to build this team, and then eventually you got the first Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the concept for me. I'm like, the Defenders, right? Because now I can find different people from all over the cyber defense side of things and use their specialties to help create this team to help defend against any type of attack that would be coming, you know, coming our way, you know, with ransomware and advanced phishing attacks and everything that you see going on. How can I get a team that is just on top of everything? So I looked around and I had to find my specialist. I had to find my crafty veteran. I had to find someone who's an innovator. I had to find someone who's a strategist. I have to find someone who's like the brains of the operation to put it all
Right.
together. I have to find my hunters, the people who kind of go out. And again, using my comic book brain, I think of the old Wolverine comic books when he went to Madripoor and was trying to figure out what the crime syndicate was doing. So he immersed himself in that scene and wore a patch, and he was known as Patch, and, you know, and hung out with the criminals to understand what threats were coming. So that was like, okay, now I got to get my threat hunters out here. And eventually you're going to start to see that, okay, I have different people, different professionals, different specialists from all aspects of Blue Team, who now I can present in front of the world and say, give me your best shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the inspiration for the new logo, honestly, like it was just we were just having a quick conversation, and I talked to you guys about my love for comic books and, you know, looking at different things, you know. So we looked at, you know, the art for like Black Panther and you know, a lot of the Marvel Phase 4 stuff with the Fantastic Four, and, you know, looking and trying to keep that tech aspect into it. And special shout out to your team, to Monica, to Jen, to Sam, to Alex, to Ryan. And, you know, they put their collective brains together and came back with this, and I literally fanboyed out when I saw it. Like, I literally was just like, and, you know, and of course, like the first thing I did was like, I took the picture of it, ran down to my wife and was like, what do you think of this? And she was like, that's dope. And I came back and I was like, yes, we're all in agreement. So
I remember you dropping the Will Smith gif in the chat. You just like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean that was a legitimate response because it was literally something that we just talked about. And I mean, and then the turnaround, I think we talked about it. And then like a couple of days later, it was like, hey, Davin, got a couple of things you want to check out. Look at this. And I'm like, oh, it's gorgeous. So, and to me, that's when it was like, oh, this is real. The defenders are really, it's really coming into play. And I'm super excited for it.
We are too, and I love the premise of this first season. The defenders and uniting this team, because as a red teamer, I'm sure you're looking at the opposite end of the coin. Like you're really understanding how to break into these systems, and I think that's critical for defenders to understand. I actually started my career as an offensive operations specialist. I was breaking into networks, compromising systems, and understanding how that worked made me a better defender. And I think, the information, the insight that you have, the perspective is going to ultimately help the guests, yourself, and the whole industry as a whole.
No, absolutely. And I think it's going to also help with, those misconceptions and I already have ideas for what I want to do with the next season, just off of this, but we're gonna keep that one on the hush hush. But it's gonna but my overall goal is to really tell a story in the episodes. So even though they're great as individual interviews, my goal is to eventually come back and say, okay, so now this is what's going on. And like I said, treat it like a Marvel Cinematic Universe type story where it's like, okay, so now where do we go from here? So, I'm just, like I said, I'm super excited. Ideas are still like literally going through my head as I'm sitting in front of you right now. But like I said, I'm just hoping everybody receives it well. So far, I see everybody loves the clip and the cover art. And again, it was literally just me talking. I again have to give credit to the team, to these two gentlemen here, as well as the team behind the scenes that really just kind of put it all together. And like I was just talking to you guys offline, sitting back in amazement, looking in the chat, going, "Oh yeah, they're on it." Yeah. So again, like I said, I'm just super excited to bring this out to the world.
Absolutely. As we bring this to a close, we definitely we're going to be sharing the links in the channels. If you haven't already grabbed that link for the actual show, be sure to subscribe, share it if you love it. Share it if you don't love it. But also, we have a Discord, and Davin's going to pop into our Discord for a little bit to chat with everybody. If you have some questions about the show, if you have some questions for Davin, be sure to join us. We talk about all kinds of incredible things in the Discord, and it's not just incredible cybersecurity topics and things that people are working through, but also things about technology, things about productivity, about leadership, about motivation. We have all types of folks in there that are really specialized in different areas of life and productivity. So be sure to hop in there, chat with us. It's a fun time, and be sure to do that.
Yeah, and we'll be popping in from time to time, so you can chat with us, get some behind the scenes stuff. I think we joked about doing a blooper reel.
Yeah,
that might have to happen. That might have to happen.
We need that.
So yeah, that's going to be cool.
It is. I cannot wait. Davin, I think you're doing a phenomenal job, not only on the Hacker Valley Blue side, not only on the InfoSec Unplugged side, but you are a true leader in the community of InfoSec and cybersecurity. So really appreciate that. And I think we're going to do great things together.
Appreciate it. Again, I have a great team to look up to and model myself after. I see Jen's in here talking about blooper reel, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I thank you all for the opportunity and just trusting me with your baby, and like I said, let's take it to the moon, gentlemen.
Absolutely, to the moon. We're proud of you, Davin. And with that, we'll see everyone next time. Be sure to drop into that Discord.
See ya.
They achieve it, they ain't wanna see the boy reach greatness. So, oh no, no, straight from the bottom and I made it to the top. Gotta win every day, so I take it. Yeah.
Ron, what legacy do you want to leave?
Oof. When I think about legacy, I think about building a community.
If we have a vision for our lives, if we know what we want to create as a legacy, the first pillar of wealth is about becoming your best self.
Greatness is a mindset. In order to become a grandmaster, you must first be a grandmaster.